Hello, everybody. Now we're going to talk about um, collecting the data for our project, which is going to be 10 different countries, and we're going to list the population and then two different categories about those countries, and we're going to compare them on a scatter plot. So let me show you how you're going to gather that information, and I'll show you two different ways. One, if you have a smartphone, there's a free app, and the free app is called Factbook, and it's this all the information from the CIA Factbook. So both iOS and Android have this type of app, and all it does is connect to the CIA Factbook, which we're gonna go through on the internet in just a second. So when you open up the app, then you go see by country, and you can there's an alphabetical list. So maybe I want Australia as one of my countries, and to find the population, you have this little dial. So you go to the people, there it is. All right, so I'll write down this one. So I have Australia, and the population is 21.26 million. And I have to decide on what two things I want to compare. So I could do maybe urbanization would be good. So urbanization is what I'm going to put together here. Urbanization is 89%. And then I'm going to go back to the dial here and pick something else. So how about urbanization versus, what does geography have? So it has the total land area. That might be interesting to graph. Elevations probably wouldn't be related at all. Yeah, I'll just let's go back. What else could I compare? The economy. I could compare the gross domestic product, labor force, imports and exports. Yeah, how about I compare the GDP per capita. This is the how much money the country produces per person. That's what a GDP per capita means. So I'm going to put that in as 38,500. So it's kind of like the average income, but not exactly of somebody that lives in that country. So let's say GDP per capita. Okay. So that's how you do it on the phone, and you could possibly, if you don't want to search through the whole list, you can do a search. So I could do. Let me just do one more. How about Mexico? So I MEX and then search, and now I can go to populations. So population of Mexico is 111.21 million, and this is Mexico. And urbanization, 77%. And GDP per capita, it's under economy, 13,200. Okay, now I'll show you how to do it on the computer. Okay, switch over to my browser. So you go to CIA.gov. It's kind of like we're hacking into the CIA, huh? And then you go, by the way, if you want to report any threats of terrorism, this is the spot to do it. And if you want to go to Kids Zone and find out how to get a job at the CIA, it's right there. Library. And then publications. And World Factbook. Alright, so mainly I'm going to look at the country comparisons. And a good one to jump to first would be the population. people in society, population. Okay, so this is a good spot. I could write a bunch of names down. So how about China has 1 billion. So I had my other, the rest of my data was in millions, so 1 billion would be 1,000 million. So I'll go ahead and write that down on the paper as 355.7 million. And then India, that's a good one. Okay, so I went through and came up with 10 countries, and I went off the population list. I think it's a good idea to keep using countries that have more than 1 million, because if you have a really small country, we might not have all the data on that country. So anyway, I picked these weren't the top 10. There was certainly other countries that had more population, but I went China, India, USA, Brazil, Russia, Japan, Germany, and United Kingdom. And now I'm going to jump back over and find out what the urbanization values are. So I'll just go back on my browser, and it's going to be people in society. And this might be a good place for you to decide which things you want to compare. Population growth rate, migration. So it looks like urbanization is not given in this list. So I'm going to pick something different. I could go through urbanization on my phone probably and find all those stats, but I'm going to switch my category to exports. I'm going to compare exports to GDP per capita. Alright, so there's China, which is on my list. So China has, let's see, million, billion, trillion. So 2 trillion, 200 million. So 210. This is trillions. And this is going to, and instead of urbanization, I'm going to say exports. Alright, so let's go back to that list. So United States, 1,575,000,000. And I'll go and pause the video here. Okay, there's my list. So 252 billion in exports from Australia. United Kingdom had 475 billion. So I'm going to label these in billions because that made the most sense for significant figures. So now I'm going to go ahead and get the GDP per capita. So just go back and go to economy. And if you're using the app, you would just go to that $sign for each country that you want to look up. So this is a GDP per capita. It's the purchasing power parity is another label for it. So looks like the smaller countries are going to have a higher GDP per capita because there's less people. So it might be a little bit harder to go through this list and find the ones that I want. United States is one of them, 52,800. Okay, so I thought it might be faster to just go through an alphabetical order and find the ones I need. So the next one's Germany. And right there. And I just go to economy. And GDP per capita, 39,500. And then my last one, and also it's nice to see the flag and where it's located in the world if you don't know already, and see a little map of the country. United Kingdom, so it's probably bottom list. And there is economy, GDP per capita, 7,300. Okay, so there's all the information I need. The next thing I'm going to do is put it over into GeoGebra and graph it as a scatter plot. That'll be in the next video.